Welcome back, everybody, to my series on Who Am I, Part 3. We're going to be looking at Who Am I Like, Lesson number 2. I'm Dr. Jason W. Morrison, Theologist, New South Wales, Australia. Let's go. Now, what you have here in front of you is a Bible search. It's not hard to research the Bible with all the tools available today. I use the BibleGateway.com. Very powerful and wonderful system to search with, and I'm sure there's better ones and worse ones, but nevertheless that's what I use. Now, what I've done so that you can understand where we've headed is I've done a search on the words the Lord God. Okay, the Lord God, and the Lord God's used after man was first created. Now I want to count how many times it was used before we get to Genesis chapter 3. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 times before we get to Genesis chapter 3. So now, of course, we turn to Genesis chapter 3, don't we? Because that's what we're studying. And we are trying to work out if we're made in the image of likeness of God. And in our previous study we found out that God does have an evil side, even though he's loving, because he did do harm to people. And I tried to explain that he justified that when Jesus died on the cross, which is easy to say, but which I will lead into towards the end of these lessons. But I want to show you where it all come undone for us. And we just did a count. What was it, 11 times, the Lord God? I want to show you how the devil works against man. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1. Let's go. Now the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field, which the Lord God, there's 12 times, the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, has what? He never said the Lord God, did he? Yet every verse in Genesis chapter 2 up to this point, even in Genesis 3 chapter 1, verse 1, we see the Lord God used, and I think this is deliberate, right up until the point where this devil opens his gob and says, has God. Now I've mentioned this in some of my videos before, but it's crucial. Just bear with me for a minute. In Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 10 it says this, the name of the Lord. It could have said the name of God, but it didn't. It said the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and are safe. So there's strength and safety in the name of the Lord. Now Satan's taken that away, hasn't he? Back in Genesis chapter 3, he's taken away the name of the Lord. Now will the woman fall for this? Or will she stick with addressing and knowing that the Lord God is not just to be addressed as God? Let's find out. So Genesis chapter 3 said to the woman, has God, how disrespectful. I know it sounds petty, but it's very vitally important here. Has God indeed said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Well, what did God say? Let's have a look, shall we? Did he say every tree, or is that an exaggeration? So we come back to Genesis chapter 2 and verse 15. Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend it and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat. You can eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. So it wasn't every tree, it was just the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in that day you eat of it, you shall surely die. So Satan's put on an exaggeration. Let's go back. So he's disrespected the name of the Lord, and he's exaggerated what the Lord actually instructed. Now this is the fork in the road for the woman, okay? This is the fork in the road. And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat the fruit of the trees of the garden. but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden. And here we go. God. She never said the Lord God has said. So she's bought into the spirit of what's happening here. She's bought into the influence of the devil. And this is how people, and this is a bit off track, but this is how people bond to deception. They go along with anything that people say instead of researching and checking what they're being told. But God, not the Lord God, she should have said the Lord God has said, you shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it. Now, the Lord God didn't say you can't touch it. He just said you can't eat it, didn't he? So one exaggeration, right, has led to another. And of course, this is where the woman morally declines. Then, can you see what's happening here? An exaggeration led to an exaggeration. Disrespect led to disrespect. Then the woman said to the serpent, you will not surely die, which was a blatant lie now. For God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Well, do you know what? They were already like God, weren't they? Because they were created in the image and the likeness of God. And did they know good and evil? Well, they knew what was right and wrong, didn't they? So did they know good and evil? They may not have experienced evil, but they knew what the difference was going to be. If you eat, you shall die. It took a deception, a mastermind deception, to cause them to actually eat. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, which she already knew it was, that it was pleasant to the eyes, which she already knew it was, and a tree desirable to make one wise. Now, I don't know where she come up with that, but she's desirable to make one wise. Knowing good and evil isn't necessarily going to make you wise. It's how you discern between good and evil that's going to make you wise. It actually wasn't going to make her wise at all, was it? She took of it, its fruit, and ate. So she's gone. The man hasn't eaten yet. And there's oh boy, I'm going to have to take you through it. But she's eaten, but the man hasn't. So what's happened to her? She's fallen, hasn't she? She's fallen into what we call a sin. She fell into sin, but the man hadn't eaten, had he? Now there's a massive theology between when the woman ate and the man ate. There's a massive theology of what actually happened here. But when she ate, the man didn't eat when she ate, but he was with her when she ate. And I've got to take the time to show you what I mean. Because she also gave to her husband with her and he ate. But he wasn't with her when she ate. It's hard to explain. There's only one way I can do it. We're running out of time, but I'll show you this. Now, the man wasn't with her when he ate, but he ate when she ate. Let me just say it like this. Let me see. It says here in Romans chapter 6, or do you not know that as many of us as were baptized into Christ were baptized into death? Therefore we were buried with him through baptism into death. Now we were buried with him when he was buried, but we weren't there when he was buried. Can you see that? Okay, it also says we were raised with him. It also says we were crucified with him. It's all in Romans. Look, we were crucified with him. But we weren't there when he was crucified, were we? We weren't there when he was buried. But we were buried with him when he was crucified, even though we weren't there. Now, Adam ate with her when she ate, but he wasn't there when she ate. Adam ate with her when she ate, but he wasn't at that point in time with her when she ate, although he ate with her. Does that make sense? We were buried with Christ, but we weren't there when he was buried, right, or raised, but we were raised with him even though we weren't there. Can you see that? Like, comment, subscribe. We're going to have to finish this theme of our talk in the next lesson. Thank you for joining me. This is Dr. Jason W. Morrison. Bye for now. Yeah, Dr. Jason Morrison, theologist again. I just want to say thank you for watching the videos, and I hope you got plenty of self-rediscovery and freedom out of it. If you watched it on YouTube, please share or like, maybe even comment. If you watched it on Facebook, like, comment, share. But most of all, get out and live. This isn't a rehearsal. You've got a one-off life. Don't let your loyalty and your faithfulness blind you to the life that you should be experiencing. Till the next video, thank you for watching, and bye for now.